communications, and leadership, helping organizations build cultures of excellence and of impact. She's the CEO of Strategic Communications Consulting, where she advises leaders on transforming their organizations to meet the future with vision and with purpose. Marcela is also the author of the groundbreaking new book, The CEO's Competitive Advantage, which focuses on a powerful truth. Embracing Hispanic and other non-traditional talent is not just the right thing to do, it's a strategic advantage, and I know we all know that. Through her research, expertise, and lived experience, Marcela shows us the Latino and Hispanic community is driving innovation, growth, opportunity, shaping the future of our workforce, our economy, and our society. Her message is simple but profound. When we recognize the power, the creativity, and the resilience within our Hispanic and our Latino communities, we don't just transform organizations, we change the world. Marcela's story from leading at global organizations to empowering underrepresented voices reminds us that hope is not passive, it's leadership, it's action, and it's the commitment to lift others as we rise. And we're in on a little secret that Marcela was just named one of the 2025 101 most influential Latinos by the National Latino Leaders magazine. So please join me in giving a warm, heartfelt welcome to our 2025 Esperanza Awards ceremony keynote speaker, Marcela Haniny.
Good evening. Buenas noches. It is a privilege to be with you at this year's Esperanza Awards. I'm originally from Mexico City, and I came to the U.S. when I was 21 years old. My educational background is in actuarial science and economics. I worked at the Federal Reserve for 15 years, starting as a research analyst right out of college. The financial crisis of 2008 changed my career path from doing research and analysis on monetary policy and labor markets to building strategic communications infrastructure that could support the Federal Reserve's efforts to communicate complex monetary policy and financial topics to news media and the general public. As I reached the level of Vice President of Public Affairs, overseeing external communications, industry relations, and public outreach, a publicly traded Fortune 500 company called Centene recruited me as their Chief Communications Officer. They wanted me to build their communications infrastructure and help them elevate their public profile. At that time, most people had actually never heard of Centene, neither had I. 3 months after I joined the company, we announced a $10 billion public-to-public acquisition that's doubled our size and put us on the map as the fourth largest health insurance company in the United States after United Healthcare, CVS, and Kaiser. After 7 years at Centene, including 2 public-to-public multi-billion-dollar acquisitions, 1 private-to-public multi-billion-dollar acquisition, expansion in the UK, Spain, Slovakia, a rise in the Fortune 500 ladder from 498 to Fortune 24, the COVID pandemic, a couple of activist investors, and finally the death of our CEO. I decided that it was time to stop living on adrenaline and cortisol and redefine my life priorities. I wanted to get so much needed rest, spend quality time with my family, and travel. I tried to check off as many items off my bucket list as I possibly could. After 7 months of disconnecting, my brain started getting restless. I was asked to join the board of Enterprise Financial Services, which is a publicly traded bank. The opportunity really excited me as it was an outstanding organization and it taken me back to my banking roots. I was also asked by Bob Clark of Clayco to join his board. This opportunity was also really exciting as it allowed me to learn from the very best the inner workings of construction, a sector in the economy I had not really had experience with. Then, Forbes Books approached me and asked me if I would write a book about myself. I didn't really think a book about me would make sense. However, as I reflected more on the opportunity, I realized that what I could do was focus the book on something that throughout my corporate journey had been bothering me. And that was, why was I the only one? You see, throughout my 25 years of my corporate journey, in those leadership positions, in the C-suite, and in boardrooms, I was almost always the only one. The only woman, the only Hispanic, the only Hispanic woman. At first, it wasn't noticeable, but as I rose in my career, it became really noticeable. I often wondered where we all were. Look around the room. We're here. Here we are, all of us. So, I began writing a book with Forbes. I did not want this book to be about DEI. I did not want to talk about what was fair or how we deserved a seat at the table. I wanted to make an economic and business case for why companies and CEOs and chairs of boards would lose in business if they didn't tap into our potential. You see, if they learned how to tap into our demographic, they would get a competitive advantage, both relative to other companies in the US and in the world. I am delighted to be with you this evening and see so many Hispanic leaders around the room. More than 200 of you. Wow. Here's to you. Bravo. Congratulations to Buhlinger and the Hispanic Leaders Group for all their efforts to help us close the Latino leadership and representation gap. Now more than ever, it is imperative that we work together to ensure our voices are heard and our votes are counted and have an impact. I also want to thank Gabby Cornelius from Mexicanos in St. Louis. She and I go a long way back before we were even married or had kids, so it's a pleasure to be here with Gabby and her husband Mark, and to have my son Benjamin as well, 24 years later. So thank you, Gabby, and thank you, Ben, and Stephen and Teresa for being here. So, now more than ever, it is imperative that we work together to ensure that our voices are heard and our votes are counted and have an impact. The Latino representation gap is simply unacceptable. No matter the rhetoric, the U.S. labor market is facing an unstoppable force. Something traditional recruitment techniques and mission statements cannot overcome, namely demographics. An aging population and demographic shifts mean the United States will be facing a labor shortage for a decade or more. We're already seeing those labor shortages now. At the same time, the data consistently demonstrates that Hispanics are here, and we are a force. We are the largest ethnic minority in the United States, at about 20% of the total population. That is 1 of every 5 people in the United States, or 64 million people. We are also the fastest growing demographic. Fact, from 2010 to 2021, the overall US population grew by roughly 7%. However, the Hispanic population grew by 21%. The US Department of Labor estimates that by 2030, Hispanics will represent almost 80% of net new workers between the ages of 18 and 35. These will be young, dynamic Hispanic workers. Also a fact, through the burst of the dot-com bubble, the Great Recession, and the COVID pandemic, Hispanics have been the primary demographic group, fueling the expansion of the US labor force. Hispanics contribute, here this number, okay? I'm a numbers geek, but here this one. Hispanics contribute $3.2 trillion to the US economy. We are estimated to drive 1/4 of US GDP. If Hispanic GDP were measured as a standalone economy, Hispanics in the United States would be the 5th largest economy in the world. Let me say that again in case it didn't sink in. If Hispanic GDP were measured as a standalone economy, Hispanics in the US would be the 5th largest economy in the world. Yet, Hispanics remain a relatively untapped pool, especially when it comes to leadership positions. We represent only 5% of C-suite positions in Fortune 500 companies, and Latinas represent only 2%. Over the last decade, women's representation on Fortune 500 company boards has steadily increased, yet Latinas held only 1% of Fortune 500 company board seats, making them the least represented gender or ethnic group. By these statistics, I am not really supposed to exist. Similarly, in government, just 2% of all elected officials in the country are Latino. A clear leadership vote at every level. Alderman Daniela Velázquez is the only Latina elected in St. Louis. In the St. Louis region. Alderman Velázquez, please stand so we can recognize you one more time. You, me, are not supposed to exist based on the statistics. Thank you for your service and for your leadership in the region. Gracias. When we look at the nonprofit sector, the same story is true. In a sample of 1,500 nonprofit organizations, only 10% of board members are Latino. Notably, about 1/3 of these boards have 0 Latino members. Latinos in the United States are also underrepresented in small business ownership. Latino-owned businesses represent only 7% of the total, and they are notably younger than their non-Latino white counterparts. The tech sector shows promise for Latino business owners. Latino-owned tech business firms have demonstrated revenue growth and get financial here, with a CAGR of 11.6%, outpacing the 7.7% CAGR of non-Latino. Many of these Latino tech businesses generate 60% more revenue than non-tech firms. Let's talk about, this is starting to get depressing. Are you depressed? Hopefully we're not happy out here, but let's talk about loan conditions for Latino entrepreneurs. While they're improving, access to capital remains a significant challenge. There is a $200 billion lending gap between Latino-owned businesses and their white counterparts. Access to capital, as you all know, you're all leaders, access to capital is crucial for business success, enabling investments in growth opportunity, effective cash flow management, and resilience during economic downturns. Moreover, the security of a company's increased funding could inspire more Latinos to pursue entrepreneurship. Access to credit is a critical factor in increasing the survival rate of small businesses, as those constrained by credit are more likely to fail. Bank financing is essential for growth and expansion. Furthermore, about half of Latino-owned businesses in the United States do not receive the full amount of credit requested, compared to 1/3 of non-Latino white-owned businesses. Unlocking the potential of Latino-owned small businesses represents a significant economic opportunity, equivalent to $1.4 trillion in additional revenue to the U.S. economy, and the potential to create approximately 5 million to 6 million net new jobs in the medium to long term. I'm going to quit torturing you pretty soon here. I'm just going to dive deep in Missouri. So specifically for Missouri, Missouri Latino population has grown 43% since 2010. We are now more than 300,000 Latinos in this state. But here's the sad part, I hate to be grumpy here, but 3/4 of eligible Latinos are not registered to vote. Only about 10% of Missouri Latinos voted in 2020. You heard that, right? 10%. Where are they? If we could mobilize even half of the unregistered Latino voters, we could triple our turnout overnight. Okay, I realize I have bombarded you with so many statistics, and at this point, you're probably sick of them and you're asking, why does this even matter? Well, as Ben shared with us earlier, this lack of representation impacts all of us. It impacts policy, business, and community priorities. Under-representation equals under-investment. What is currently happening is that critical decisions that impact the Hispanic community are made without our voices at the table. It also means that we have significant untapped power. Latinos can shape elections. We can influence policies, and we can secure resources if we mobilize. Building Latino leadership is not optional. It is imperative. It is critical for closing this gap. We have exceptional potential, and we are ready to be tapped. There are endless studies by Tier 1 organizations, such as McKinsey, Bain, BCG, EY, and even Carlyle, that underscore the business case for diversity and Latino representation. These studies demonstrate time and time again the fact that companies that are ethnically and culturally more diverse are significantly more likely to experience above-average profitability than non-diverse companies. Homogeneity does nothing to invite varying opinions from different backgrounds and the creativity that it affords. Diversity of background and experiences makes for more robust and deep analysis of issues. Different viewpoints that explore a breadth of experiences help the most innovative and imaginative ideas emerge. My remarks this evening are intended to be a call to action. As Hispanics, we have a lot of work to do. Hispanics in the U.S. are the consumers, employees, and leaders of the future. We have strong values, a work ethic that is second to none, and we are relentless. do to gain votes. I urge you to be the leaders that will drive the change that we need to see in our communities. This is our time. It is Latino time. Help us lead the way. Muchas gracias.
Let's give another big round of applause. Thank you, Marcela, for sharing your story and reminding us of the incredible power that we hold when we embrace hope and unity and our potential as a community. You've inspired us to be bigger and to continue building a stronger community together. Now, who's ready to celebrate some amazing leaders tonight? Okay, that's okay. We're in a room full of Latinos. I know we can do way better than that. Who's ready to celebrate powerful Latino leaders in our community? The next part of our evening is all about shining the spotlight on the dreamers, the doers, and the change makers in our community. We're so excited to honor so many amazing people this evening. To kick things off tonight, we start with our Hispanic Leaders Group Chairman Champion Award. The award is given to individuals who played an important role in supporting the growth and development of the Hispanic Leaders Group, helping move our organization forward. It recognizes those whose vision, dedication, and passion have strengthened our mission and expanded our impact in the community. To present this special award, please welcome the Chairman of the Hispanic Leaders Group, Buhlinger.
Alrighty, let's kick things off. Now it's award time. Now we're going to celebrate some amazing people. Thank you, Suzanne, for emceeing. Thank you to our team for doing such a wonderful job. Let me tell you a little bit about the Hispanic Leaders Group Chairman Champion Award. This award is given to folks who have significantly contributed to supporting our work. And I'll be the first to tell you that I don't know everything. Who here in the room is experts in everything? Nobody, right? A lot of the work that we do is in partnership with some amazing organizations and some amazing leaders. Now, one of the most important ways we express our values, our ideas, and our voice is through our vote. As Marcela and I have shared before, Missouri faces a major challenge. Only half of eligible Latinos are registered to vote, and of those, only half are turning out on election day. There is a huge gap that all of us are responsible for filling. Let me say that again. All of us are responsible for ensuring that Latinos are showing up, getting registered to vote, and going out to vote. So that's why the Hispanic Leaders Group launched the local Latino campaign. But one small problem, we didn't have the tools. Folks, could I hear your attention, please? We didn't have tools, we needed help. And I'm not shy to say that I needed help. So that's when we power stepped in, and one amazing lady, Ness Sandoval, also stepped up as well. If you don't know Ness, she is a nationally recognized voting rights advocate, and she leads the Missouri Voters Protection Coalition, of which we are proud members. Ness was really important in teaching us how to launch and sustain our local Latino vote, local Latino campaign. She gave us the tools and knowledge that we needed to know on how to register people to vote, how to teach folks to understand their rights, and how to show up at the polls with confidence. And to this day, Denise is opening doors for Hispanic leaders group and in turn for the Hispanic community to speak out on important issues. She has also given us space to elevate Latino border issues. So please, I would like to give you a warm welcome in honoring Denise Lieberman for being honored for our Champion Award. Denise.
Thank you so much, and to the Hispanic leaders group for this incredible honor. I have been a fan of Ben since the moment I met him. I know I'm not alone. Ben's charisma, kindness, inclusion, drives you to join him in whatever fight he's fighting. And that's what brought me to the Hispanic Leaders Group. I can't tell you what an honor and a privilege it is to be here with you all tonight. And of course, the fight before us is very grave and serious. We are facing an attack on our democracy. I don't need to tell any of you that. You know this, you live it, you experience it. Latinos and immigrant communities are being assaulted on all fronts, making it difficult to even exist. People are afraid to go to work, to go to school. Right here in the city of St. Louis, we've seen raids, we've seen families separated, lack of representation. But we know that when we come together to provide resources and support, we can make a difference in people's lives, and we can make a difference in the policies that affect all of our lives. I am the director of the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition. We are a nonpartisan, statewide coalition of advocates who work to protect our right to vote. Sounds simple, right? It should be. It should be. Because our belief is that every single person, every single Missourian deserves to have a voice. The right to vote is not Democrat or Republican, though we know there's politics behind the attacks on our freedom to vote. But the right to vote is not about who you vote for. It is about the fact that your voice can be heard. It's about basic human dignity. The ability to make our own choices for ourselves, our children, our families, our futures. That is what the right to vote is about.
And if we do not have a say, or if our ability to have a say in our own destinies is denied or abridged, then we are not truly free. And until all of us are free, then none of us are free. And we have an obligation to ensure that all voices can be heard. This event is occurring on an important day in the state of Missouri. I'm sorry to share with you that just a couple of hours before I came here tonight, Missouri lawmakers decided to gut our fundamental right to vote, passing legislation to rig Missouri's congressional map, to cut out the voices of growing African American and Latino populations in our state. And by passing a resolution that would make it impossible for citizens to propose their own ideas to their fellow citizens through the citizen initiative process. These shameful measures were done quite in the open, without regard to the will of Missourians. My organization helped lead the fight to respond to these attacks, including helping bring thousands of Missourians to the Missouri Capitol 2 days ago on Wednesday to show their objections to their lawmakers. We were told by several of the security there it was the largest gathering at the Missouri Capitol they had ever seen. So lawmakers knew that Missourians across the board objected to these actions, objected to Washington, D.C., or 1600 Pennsylvania telling them what to do. And yet they did it anyway. We made our voices clear. We garnered in this extraordinary session where they rushed through both of these pieces of legislation, making Missouri just the second state after Texas to rig our district lines at the behest of Washington, D.C., and at the expense of real Missourians. Despite that, and despite the 24-hour notice of the hearings, more than 4,300 Missourians submitted testimony opposing these measures. Normally, I'm happy when like 20 people show up to a committee hearing. These hearings were standing room only, and people had to take time off work, find child care for their children, health care for their parents, sacrifice a day without pay to come allow their lawmakers to hear what they had to say, to hear that their voices deserve to be heard. Lawmakers like Ray Reed, sitting over there along with my state representative, Doug Taylor, staged a week-long protest, sleeping in the Capitol for this entire past week, along with several others. And yet today, the voices of Missourians did not carry the day with Missouri lawmakers as they cut off debate, by the way, cut off democratic process of their own legislative bodies, to deny the rest of us fair representation and the right to elect candidates of choice, to deny us the ability to propose ideas of solutions that mean something to us through the citizen initiative process. The proposal they ran through today would allow, seriously, 5% of Missourians to override the will of 95% of Missourians. And the congressional maps are intended to and do strike at the heart of one person, one vote, and break up communities. We know why representation matters. In this room, we know why representation matters. We just heard of the ways that Latinos are underrepresented at all levels of leadership. We have come forth and recognized the leadership of Daniela Velasquez on the St. Louis Board of Aldermen, the only Latina elected official in our city. Representation matters. And we have a way to go. We also heard about the voter registration gap. In this country, 88% of eligible white Americans are registered to vote. This is voting eligible Americans. Only 66% of voting eligible African Americans are registered to vote. And among Latinos, only 54% of eligible voting age Latinos are registered to vote. We can help close that voter registration gap. And then we have to get people out to vote. Because the truth of the matter is, we do have power. Despite what happened today in the Missouri General Assembly, we do have power, and we can step up and claim that power. It's not that we have to fight back and fight for it. It's already ours. It's already ours. Each and every one of us deserves to have a voice, to have a say in our own futures, in our own destinies. And when we come together to ensure we can exercise that right, we will be able to. What we are seeing here today is a recognition of the power that's right here in this room. There's an old adage, if your vote wasn't so important, they wouldn't be making so much effort to take it away. Because they know the power that's here in this room, and rooms just like this across our state, and rooms just like this around the country. That is what they're for. And that's unfortunate, because a democracy only functions when everybody can have a seat at the table. So earlier today, and bear with me here on time because a lot of stuff happened to me. And I thought, oh, I'm supposed to look cute tonight. That didn't happen. A couple hours ago, I answered the phone from one of our coalition partners, and I answered the call, well, democracy died today in Missouri. And then a few minutes later, I sort of regretted saying that. Because actually, that's not true. Democracy lies right there with us. We hold the power of democracy, not those in Jefferson City, and not those at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who would seek to rid the system for their own political gain. In a democracy, perhaps lawmakers will try to come to events like this, get engaged in the communities, understand and learn about the needs of the people, and respond to them. And I think to get elected. But that's not what's happening. We're seeing rigging of the system for their own political gain. And so I reconsidered my comment. Democracy didn't die today in Missouri. It's just getting started. So it's all just a few hours. A lawsuit was filed today, challenging the constitutionality of the written act. Our state constitution makes clear that without these census data, it's unconstitutional to redraw district lines midway through the decade just for political gain. We heard testimony just yesterday in the Missouri Senate about the tremendous growth, particularly of Latinos and Hispanics in the state of Missouri. And in fact, when the next census comes out in 2030, we're likely to see more representation on us. As long as we pick up the vote. So we found that lawsuit challenging the redistrict lines as a violation of our Constitution. Also today, Missouri law says that once district lines are submitted, voters can challenge those lines and propose new lines through the referendum process, the citizen initiative process. That ballot initiative was filed today as well to request fair district lines. So they're wondering why they put the citizen initiative on the chopping block. That's why, among many other things. We celebrate the promise of democracy in this country, but in truth, we've never actualized it. It is a promise. It is an aspiration. But it's something that when we come together, we can, in fact, make happen. I'm almost done here. This was a big day. I just forgot this was the day it almost happened. We know that our country, the beauty of our country, the promise of our country, the beauty of our state, the promise of our state, the beauty of this city, the promise of this city is drawn from the communities that live there, from the immigrant populations that have come and contributed their talents and culture to build this beautiful space that we can share together. I myself am a second-generation American. My grandmother immigrated here from Ukraine, alone at age 13, facing religious persecution. And so we grew up being told, you have a future here, you have a promise here. That is an important lesson. And then I'm so grateful to you for sharing your experience and your immigration experience with us tonight, because we know this is what makes our community great. So I'll conclude by saying, the power of our vote is not just rhetoric, it's real. The power that lies in this room is not just rhetoric, it is real. And when we come together, we can make change. So there's several things you can do. First, this new ballot initiative just got filed today. It's going to need signatures to get on the ballot. To ensure that our maps are fair, that our district lines represent the communities that they serve. That's the gold standard of what our district lines are supposed to be, not written them out to cut out people's voices. Sign the petition and allow it together. Second, be part of the effort to make our community fair. Let's close the Latino voter registration gap together. Next Tuesday, September 16th, is National Voter Registration Day. Here in Missouri, you can register to vote online. You don't even need a lot of paperwork. In this room, can you commit on Tuesday, National Voter Registration Day, to asking 5 people to check their voter registrations or register to vote? Who's looking? The road ahead, we're tough, I'm not gonna lie. The road ahead is hard. But none of us are on shoulders the burden. Together, we can carry the water. And so I want to thank the Hispanic Leaders Group, which has inspired me in my work every day. We have created at the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition. We provide education. We protect voters at the polls. We file lawsuits challenging illegal and discriminatory laws. And we advocate with our lawmakers to ensure that everybody's voices can be heard. I just saw my friend Sal, who chaired our Language Access Committee and ensured that all of our materials are translated into Spanish. I also want to thank those who I brought here with me today, Daniel Rubinstein, and my students, Natalia Leon, who is a Democracy Fellow with the Gephardt Institute and works full-time with the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition, and is also a leader in the Latin American Students Association at Washington University. And Jacob Solis and Sofia Navarro, who are law students and lead the Latino Law Students Association at Washington University. We have power in our hands, and we have people who are coming up. Let's band together. And instead of thinking of this day as a depressing one, let's think of this as a day of liberation, a day of celebration, and a day where we are going to take our democracy back in collaboration with the Hispanic Leaders Group. Thank you all.
Congratulations once again to these women receiving the Champion Award. And tonight, we're thrilled to introduce something very special, a brand new award. I'm incredibly honored to introduce the Latinas Rising Legacy Award, a new award created in partnership between the Hispanic Leaders Group and Latinas Rising. This award celebrates the power of Latinas, our voices, our vision, our resilience, and our leadership across our community and beyond. Latinos are ready to change business, advocacy, education, and culture. We're shaping policy. We're starting businesses. We're mentoring the next generation and letting others act rise. The Latinas Rising Legacy Award was created to shine a light on these extraordinary contributions and to honor the stories, the passion, the power of Latina leaders who are leading an enduring impact on our community and beyond. To introduce the award, please welcome two powerhouse Latinas who are change makers in their own right and dear friends and mentors of mine. They are the co-founders of Latinos Rising, a movement dedicated to amplifying women's voices through authorship, mentorship, and collective empowerment. Please help me welcome to the stage Esmeralda and Gabriela Ramírez.
Standing here tonight is truly special, not just because I am past Esperanza award recipient, but because I know firsthand how much it means to be seen, celebrated, and supported by our own community. The work that the Hispanic Leaders Group continues to do through these awards amplifies our voices, advocates for our needs, and honors our excellence. It is powerful, and I am deeply grateful for the direction the organization is moving in and proud to be a part of tonight's celebration. As the co-founder of the Latinos Rising alongside my amiga and Esmeralda, we wanted to create something new, something rooted in purpose and presence.
Tonight, we are honored to present the very first Latinos Rising Legacy Award. The Latinos Rising Legacy Award celebrates the women whose presence, persistence, and purpose have created ripples that reach beyond our own generation. This award is rooted in the belief that legacy lives not just in what we do, but in what we leave behind for our daughters, our comadres, and the next wave of leaders who are watching us rise. This award is also our reminder that impact is not always loud, but it's always lasting. And there's no one more deserving of this first honor than Haniny Hillberg.
Whether she's working within government systems, supporting families, mentoring emerging leaders, or shaping policy behind the scenes, Haniny shows up with integrity, with corazón, and with a deep-rooted belief in justice and community. Haniny, your leadership is steady, visionary, and rooted in love for your people. You have opened doors without needing credit, and you have modeled what it means to lead with values.
And with deep admiration and appreciation, we are proud to honor you with the first ever Latinos Rising Legacy Award, which includes a monetary gift in recognition of your sustained impact. Please join us, though you're already here. Let's give her a round of applause that echoes everything she's given to us.
Good evening. This is a real surprise. Antes que nada, I want to thank you for Esmeralda and everybody else. I am so
May and all of you have helped, have guided me, may have accepted me. But you know what? My heart says that all of them, no matter what, but Hispanic culture came first than anything else. Many people know me that I always give a priority to my country. Gabriela and Hannah, again, thank you. You have been doing a great job, and I'm so surprised at this beautiful work and beautiful connection that you have given me. Thank you.
Before Esperanza and I leave the stage, I just want to leave you with this. The power of one person, one decision, one intention can change everything. So tonight, I ask you, what will your ripple be? Let's keep rising together. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Thank you, Esmeralda and Gabriela, for your vision, your passion, and your commitment to uplifting Latino voices. And congratulations once again to our very first ever Latinas Rights Legacy Award recipient, Haniny Hillberg. Now, we've reached the award community, the moment we've all been waiting for, the 2025 Premio Esperanza. The Haniny Ramírez Premio Esperanza, Hope Award, was established by the Hispanic Leaders Group of Greater St. Louis in 2003 under the leadership of Anthony Ramírez. Initially named Premio Esperanza, its name was changed in 2010 in honor of Anthony Ramírez, founder of HOG and creator of the award. The purpose of the award is to acknowledge individuals that have contributed significantly to the Hispanic community in such fields as business, community service, culture, the arts, education, human rights, and public office. The award represents the very heart of who we are as a community. It celebrates individuals who embody service, leadership, and esperanza, hope, and whose work uplifts and inspires everyone around them. To help us present these special honors, please welcome a past Esperanza Award recipient, a friend, mentor, and a tireless advocate for our community, Ramírez.
Buenas noches. So as I was introduced, I'm Carlos Ramírez. I was fortunate enough to last year win this award. And so it's really interesting because I've been involved in St. Louis for 14 years. And as I said last year, this award really means the most to me. And I see all the passion, all the Latino leaders, that are here in this room. And it means so much to see our Latino growth. And it means so much that people that are the nominees for these awards have led so much, whether we're talking in the healthcare field, just culture in general, the Latino culture, or quite frankly, the statistics of learning what that means for the importance of Latinos in St. Louis. So for me, it always has a special place, this award, and the word itself, esperanza, is hope. So for me, when I got here, I had hope that I could have an impact. And then I come to find out that there was a Latino community that had been here. It started the Hispanic Chamber in the 80s, and so I had hope that those before us laid the groundwork. I had hope that I would be able to make an impact. And I had hope that whatever groundwork we laid, those after us can continue to move forward. So I'm really excited about being here, about the growth of this organization, about the growth of Latino leaders with so many programs across St. Louis. And so with that, I want to really lead out and talk about the nominees, which really they're leaders, they're mentors, they're change makers, just like so many more of you. If you look at the program, we have so many people that led the committee for this organization, that lead the board for this organization, the board members of all the Latino-based organizations. There's so much that all of you are doing for us in order to move forward. So with that, I'd like to see who the nominees are.
My name is Abente, and I am the president and CEO of Casa, Salud. Casa is a community healthcare organization that seeks to provide access to high-quality healthcare and mental health care to our region's underserved and under-resourced individuals, and we have a particular focus and expertise in reaching immigrants who are newer to the region, and in particular those who speak Spanish. First thing St. Louis work with the International Institute, work with immigrants to help them start to strengthen their businesses. I'm very fortunate to be in Casa Salud, where I can offer access to healthcare and mental health care. I think that those two are the two pillars of our society. When you think about the three pillars, when you think about education, healthcare, and a job. And to be part of that process in the United States and in St. Louis is very important. So I've been dedicated to the nonprofit space for the entirety of my professional career, and really enjoy and really fulfilled with the opportunity to continue to pave the road for immigrants who are coming to the United States to restart their lives, to do something bigger and better for themselves and their families. And I think that's truly what makes this country great, and to be a part of that process, to be a part of that magic that's happening every day in our country is a labor of love and a point of pride.
Haniny Hillberg, and I am really the leader on the Hispanic Festival team. I started the Hispanic Festival over 20 years, and gave us an invitation from Park. So somebody came up with America, and at that time, she said, we can't give $1,000 for the festival. I thought $1,000 was a lot of money, and I said, I'd like to do it because I just want to see, culture, show to people the difference and the variety of food, music, dancing from different Hispanic countries. So I took a couple of friends and we started doing it. And everything we did every year, one festival downtown, and it grows and grows and grows. Every second food festival, the other one in North Country grows and continues in downtown and grows. And from there on, it seems to be growing and growing. And then the Hispanic community has been growing as well. So we have been more and more young Hispanics trying to get involved, trying to learn the culture, and cooperate with them. I love to see that, and I love to see more young Hispanics to be together, to work together. Let's grow in the political side, let's grow in the economic side, and let's grow together, and let's show each other empathy, sympathy for each one of us.
Sociology and Demography at Salud University. Been here since 2008, and my area of research is in urban demography, immigration, and Latino populations. I think what I am learning as an academic is everybody talking about that, whether they're using the term or not. Everybody talks about it here and mortality. And so my goal is to bring that up to them to the best that you can and help them become confident in using that so they can make decisions for themselves and not have to rely on city leaders, government leaders to be decision makers. I believe that community members can actually make a decision so they can be in a position to accomplish that.
Hi, I'm Suzanne. I'm the Executive Director of the St. Louis Mosaic Project. We're part of a Regional Economic Development Agency, and our entire focus is on helping the foreign born population connect to resources so they thrive in St. Louis. I'm so proud to do the work I do because we get to be welcoming and we get to give foreign born newcomers hope. And of course, that includes our Latino community. So I'm really passionate about Este, which we launched last year with so many Latino leaders who are probably in the room. And it's really designed to be a bilingual comprehensive resource of information that they can tap into and that they can access, whether it's English classes, or they have a small business that they want to start, or they want to grow, mentors, churches, cultural events. It's the one place they can go to at least begin to get information, and it's about sharing stories. So that has meant a lot to me, and it's really, I have a lot of real when I see the engagement that we're getting on the platform. It's for the community, by the community, and with the community. So I envision a future where Latino leaders are seen in every sector: business, civic, education, community, because we're shaping the region. And I also would love that we are not only celebrated during Hispanic Heritage. So that's what I want to see. It's undeniable the importance that we're playing in the demographic and economic growth of the region. And I just can't wait to see more of us in more places. Serving the community has always been part of my life here in St. Louis, even before I could speak English. I had approached the advisors of my English foreign language student to see how I could meet, how I could serve. So somebody got my class and I was off trying to volunteer. So being in St. Louis for over 45 years, I have seen the Hispanic community grow, and I have seen it grow in a diverse way as well. There's people here from many Hispanic and Latin American countries, and I have seen that people have connected in many different ways and created new organizations through which they can serve the community, build more connections amongst themselves, and really helps you live even in one life, because with diversity we really have more opportunities for life. Things are just better than a common when you have tapestry. It's much better if you have just that plain.
Blown away, because I feel we should absolutely give a round of applause to those nominees. In their own right, they have done so much to impact St. Louis. And when people think about St. Louis, they're not thinking about St. Louis is about Latinos. But those of us that are in the know that have seen all the work that's gone into it, particularly by the 5 nominees today and previous people. It really is incredible the work we've done. And all of them, truly, I can look at each one of you that are nominees and tell you that you have all had an impact in who we're becoming and who we will still strive to be. So please continue doing the work. And there are so many incredible nominees. Of course, we can only have one winner. And with that, I'm so pleased that a friend of mine is winning this. So, Adelante con Esperanza, el ganador, Abente.
In the words of the now great Latino, buenas noches, mi gente. Wow. Thank you to the agent for this incredible recognition. I want to start tonight by letting the committee know, the nominating committee know, that I forgive them for choosing me instead of much more qualified nominees that were being considered this evening. With, of course, I would be honored to share this award. So please, let's do this again one more time. Haniny, Ness, Suzanne, Yvonne, you're each superstars. So I'd like you to please stand and be recognized. Let's bring the house down. So I really do want to congratulate you and thank you for propping me up, for lifting me up, for giving me this opportunity. I'm deeply humbled to be added to the long list of distinguished winners of the Haniny Hillberg Award. This list includes outstanding individuals who have shaped and inspired my career, and those who have left such a lasting legacy that we can feel them in the room each time we gather to recognize a winner. This year's theme, Hope Unites Us, resonates deeply. I believe that hope not only unites us, but it grounds us in a specific place. For me, hope is the powerful connection of people and place. We cultivate hope, and when we do, we foster growth, both individually and as a community. Like the ubiquitous seasoning that enhances every dish, hope enriches our lives. But my life started with a little hope and a loss of place, and an embrace by a people that I didn't know. And for a long time, I wandered in search of a home and a place where I felt like I truly belonged, where I could make a difference, where the people shared my passion for doing good, and that search, believe it or not, led me right here. And so now, surrounded by doers like you, in a place with so much potential, I am filled with hope. Tonight, I'd like to frame my remarks by talking about what I know best. Okay, I love just you. My story, is what I want to share with you. And I want to share it with you as one of the many threads of what brings us together and what stitches the tapestry of this great country, right? Shift pages, hold on. Not much of what I'm going to share tonight is unique, and that's exactly where its power lies. It speaks the truth of the many, not just one. It shares the love we all have in our hearts, not just me. It breathes the hope that the collective in this group holds. But hope was beaten out of my parents through repeated torture. It was circa 1976, and my parents were young university students in Zimbabwe, a country under the grips of a long and bloody dictatorship. My mom, an educational psychology major, and particularly my dad, who was studying political science, were part of student groups that were activating to, let's call it, encourage the government to be more transparent, accountable, and democratic. As a result, my dad was repeatedly kidnapped and tortured. After he was beaten and dead, they attempted to coerce him into accusing his fellow activists of being communists, of course, was the common enemy of the time, and of colluding to topple the government. But my dad, the only person I know to be more stubborn than I am, refused to sign. So they kept rounding him up, beating him, waterboarding him, and electrocuting him. Confident that he would eventually break and sign. But he wouldn't. And so the dictator took the one thing he knew that would break my dad. He took my mom. She was incarcerated in 1976. And I was born in May. And if you've been following along, you might have noticed that the timeline suggests that I was not born in a hospital, and you'd be right. I was born in a cold, dark jail cell to a mother who was 8 months pregnant at the time when she was taken. She was malnourished, and she had no blood flow. For the first few hours of my life, my mom gave me the only thing she had. Drops of water from cotton cloth that she was provided. But unbeknownst to her on the outside, my grandfather, who, as things happened to be in the Paraguayan Navy, was negotiating furiously with the dictator to secure safe passage for his first grandson out of the jail. He did nothing to end nothing. And after signing away several of his businesses, we were allowed to leave. But in the first weeks of my life, my mom's best friend had to be my surrogate mother because my mom was unable to care for her. As you might imagine, this ordeal made it clear to my parents that all hope was lost for them to start and raise a family in a Paraguay ruled by the dictator. Their sense of place was taken from them. One half of that equation broken. And so began their journey to regain and make whole again that equation, people and place. And rather than take the easy path to a neighboring South American country, my parents chose to sacrifice and start anew in a place that was the very definition of hope at the time, the United States. In America, they rebuilt their lives, working hard, learning a language and a culture that they didn't know, and instilling the values of resilience, responsibility, and community in their 3 children. Over time, they found their people, but they never quite felt like this was their place. And looking back now, I understand that that was the ultimate sacrifice that they made for us. They remained placeless so that me and my brothers would grow up feeling like we had a chance at finding our place. And even though for each of us, it's been a journey that's led us to the far corners of this world, England, Guinea, Abu Dhabi, South Sudan, Thailand, just to name a few, we have landed and we are grounded here. My parents' actions convey a profound sense of gratitude, a deep appreciation for a second chance, and a powerful conviction to reciprocate the opportunities afforded to us by the United States and its people. This sentiment, more than anything, has defined my purpose. It's the driving force behind my desire to do good and the inner strength that helps me overcome the many obstacles I have faced. Indeed, we all need to be fortified and resilient in the face of today's challenges. This is especially true for our brothers and sisters who, like us and my parents before, are simply striving to build a hopeful life, yet now find their very safety in jeopardy. It's a coordinated chaos intended to divide, belittle, isolate, and quash hope. But it will not prevail. And we will not leave. We will embrace, we will lift up, and we will connect, and hope will prevail. St. Louis, you all, have been so good to me, and I have, and I will continue to reciprocate. My place and my people are here, and my hope is very much intact, and yours should be too. I grew my family here and have a beautiful daughter and son who proudly call St. Louis their home. I grew my career here, ascending the heights I didn't really know I really wanted and let alone thought possible. And for those of you still paying attention, which is not everyone, yes, I also grew my hair here. So in closing, I'd like to give thanks. First to my wife, Betsy, stand up. You have been a constant source of strength. You are my constant source of strength. Thank you. To my children who fill my heart with immeasurable joy, and to all of you who can now clap for each other, whose dedication and hard work challenge and inspire me to continue making a meaningful contribution. My commitment to you is to continue to nurture hope and foster growth for this community, our place. As you can tell, even though I've told the story about my birth many times before, it never gets easier. But tonight is extra special. Because for the first time, the hero of the story is in the room. So I'd like to recognize my mother, and I'd like to ask you all to please help me bring the house up.
Celebra a su mamá. Con eso me despedimos. No pudiste venir.
We are trying to make